My name's Johnathan Knight. I'm the executive producer for Dantes Inferno at Visceral Games in Redwood Shores. Dantes Inferno is an epic action-adventure game. It's loosely based on part one of the Divine Comedy, which is an epic Italian medieval poem about a guy's journey through the 9 circles of hell.
You'll never get the girl, Dante.
So the game's defining feature, I think, is really the combat. It's just incredibly fast-paced and responsive and rewarding combat. Dante fights with 2 main weapons. He's sort of a dual character. He's got a giant deadly scythe that he steals from death, a huge blade that does a lot of punishing combat moves. And then he's also got this holy cross that represents kind of more his holy warrior side. And it's really that duality, the unholy warrior, the badass, the brutal warrior, and then the holy warrior. And as a player, you sort of start to choose throughout the game if you're going to do more holy moves and absolutions. You can absolve your enemies, absolve the demons, or if you're going to use the scythe in a more punishing fashion and just be kind of a brutal, deadly guy. And that feeds into the upgrades, the magics, which are themed holy and unholy, the relics, and the whole system really is about leveling up either one side or the other, or both. And it's that duality of moral choice that I think defines the gameplay for Dantes Inferno. So at the event here in London at the Winter Showcase, we're showing Lust, which is the 2nd circle of hell, and it's a big crazy level with the giant boss Cleopatra, who's kind of kidnapped Beatrice, and you're sort of racing up the tower to save her, and engaged in fighting off this boss kind of throughout the level. Well, I think the most challenging thing about making Dantes Inferno is that we adapted this revered classic poem for a video game, and in doing so, we definitely had to sort of write a new story that sits on top of the poem. We've been quite faithful and literal with the geography of hell, the settings and the characters, the monsters, everything sort of that Dante Alighieri imagined in terms of the physical place. But when it comes to the story, the poem is a little intellectual, a little philosophical, and Dante from history is more of a poet, and we wanted to reimagine him as a warrior. So we crafted a new story. It's still Dante, it's still Beatrice, it's still Lucifer, it's still Virgil, but the stakes are much higher. Beatrice has to be rescued from hell. She's been kidnapped, and Dante has this dark past, and we sort of crafted this series of sins and transgressions and betrayals that he's committed in his past, and he has to face those sins in hell. And so the game kind of takes this dark turn as we find out more and more about him. So I would say, you know, the most sort of challenging and rewarding thing was to reinvent Dante Alighieri as a dark action anti-hero. So in terms of the art style, I mean, we've been influenced by pretty much everything that's been done on hell for the last 700 years since the poem was written. We really looked all the way back to kind of Botticelli's drawings through you know, the Dutch painters Bruegel and Bosch, and then into kind of the Romantic period. You've got French painters and then sculptors. You've got Rodin did the Gates of Hell, and Doré did all those drawings. There's just tons of artists that have basically treated the Inferno, and all the way up to the 20th century. But the one guy that really stands out for me is the guy that we called at the beginning of the project in pre-production, and that's Wayne Barlow. He's designed the creatures for the Hellboy and Hellboy 2 movies, and Harry Potter, and he's worked for Guillermo del Toro on The Hobbit, and he's just this crazy, brilliant artist who has been painting hell for the last 15 years, and he just has a very twisted and unique vision, and we partnered with him in the very beginning, and he did a bunch of sketches for us, and that was really the inspiration for a lot of the creatures and environments you see in the game today.